Hello, City Council. I'm Carla Schwam, and I live directly adjacent to the site of the proposed Phase 2 Western Channel bike path. You've already heard my concerns about the bike path, existing less than 10 feet away from my living room, so today I don't plan to repeat those concerns. I'd like to address the issue of money. This is a $4.4 million project. That's a lot of money. $680,000 is coming from the city of Burbank. A lot could be done with $4.4 million, but that money is earmarked for a 3/4-mile-long bike path that, like Phase 1, will rarely be used by cyclists. Occasional dog walkers might get some use out of it, but even they are few and far between, and that is not the intention of the grant. I would suggest that $4.4 million could paint the streets of Burbank green with bike lanes. Even $680,000 could create an awful lot of bike lanes. Instead, we are focusing on a 3/4-mile bike path that will be hugely underused and that most nearby residents don't want and didn't ask for. Second, while I do not enjoy taking a defensive and adversarial position, I want to speak a bit about the organized supporters of the bike path. Members of the group Walk Bike Burbank first showed up at a city council meeting on June 10th to express their support of the bike path, 8 months after residents from the neighborhood had already spoken at multiple city council meetings to express their concerns about and opposition to the bike path. Walk Bike Burbank was created in large part to form an organized and expansive effort to rally support for the bike path. In a Facebook post, they said, after the June 10th Burbank City Council meeting where they decided not to go forward with the planned Phase 2 Western Channel bike path infrastructure and improvements planned and anticipated by Burbank residents since 2003 and placed funding in jeopardy, city staff has successfully connoitered to extend critical Prop 84 funding for Burbank's portion of this regional bike path. Staff will take this issue back to the community soon. The Burbank community will speak, and the City Council will finally listen. City Council members, City Manager Mark Scott, I want you to know that I believe you have already listened, and for that I am very appreciative. Additionally, it is untrue that Burbank residents anticipated the infrastructure since 2003, since the first we heard of it was in November of 2013. I'm not a particularly politically minded person, so this whole process has been educational, eye-opening, surprising. One of the biggest surprises was learning that some of the founding members and supporters of Walk Bike Burbank have very close ties to the city and are therefore very effective in starting a campaign aimed at pushing their agenda forward. Mary LaPeake Dixon and her husband Patrick Dixon are founding members of Walk Bike Burbank. Mr. Dixon is a member of the Transportation Commission. Corey Wilkinson, who was instrumental in the grant funding process along with other city employees, are members or supporters of Walk Bike Burbank. The following tweet from Patrick Prescott, Deputy City Planner for the City of Burbank, was posted on their Facebook page. It's incredible how people accept the inevitability of freeway widening but come unglued about bike infrastructure. Please pass this on to Mr. Prescott. The freeway widening isn't 7 feet from my living room window, and he might want to show a little more compassion for the residents of Burbank, the very people he works for. That so many city employees are closely aligned with the campaign to support the bike path seems at odds with the concerns expressed by residents and constituents and those who will have to live with it in their own backyards. I find it disingenuous that these people who have launched a campaign to, quote, save the bike path don't live near it. They won't have to live with the impact of a public space right next to their property, 24/7, 365 days a year, with no plans for patrols after Metrolink trains stop running at 10 p.m. The question has been raised whether residents living next to an easement should have expected that it would one day be developed. The answer to this is categorically no. When we purchased our house in 1997 next to the easement, it was 7 years before the Chandler bike path was even built. We had a reasonable expectation that the house we bought next to an easement would remain private without neighbors or public access. We had absolutely no reason to believe that a bike path would ever be built there. On a personal note, I've been dealing with this issue since last November, which roughly corresponds to my birthday, so I can say it hasn't been the best year ever. It's been very stressful, and I need to get back to focusing on other priorities in my life, such as my family, my career, my health. You've all heard the expression, let go and let God. City Council members, Mark Scott, in this case, you are God. I have faith that whatever Mark Scott recommends to City Council will be the fairest proposition for all sides. If nothing else, I've shown to my son to voice his opinion no matter how hard, to stand up for what he believes in and what he wants to protect. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you, Ms. Schwam.